What is something else that you wish women or people knew about their bodies, their metabolism, or their ability to heal?
So, another one that we really focus on, once again, I think a lot of the focus sometimes boils down to what we're eating, but equally as important is how we're eating, right? So, sometimes there's very simple shifts that we can make with how we eat, never mind focusing on what we're eating, because a lot of people are eating healthy, but they still have issues, right? So, when it comes to how we eat, there's five main things that we focus on. They're called the five C's. They're choose, chew, chill, cherish, and check. So you want to make sure you're choosing the right foods, right? Making sure you're focusing on eating mostly anti-inflammatory whole foods, avoiding the ultra processed foods.
Avoiding ensure, possibly.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
clutter,
Yep.
body clutter.
Yep. You want to make sure you're chewing your food well, so 20 to 30 times per bite or until it's a baby food type of texture. Choose to chill. So you want to make sure you're in a relaxed parasympathetic state. So the parasympathetic is also known as rest and digest. So you have to be in that parasympathetic state to digest your food. So one of the best ways to get yourself into a parasympathetic state before you eat is taking three conscious breaths to shift your physiology. Cherish, so giving gratitude for your food. A lot of the times, right now in the summer, many people have gardens and we realize how long it takes to grow that tomato, right? So really giving thanks for your food, where it came from, all the hands that went into not just preparing it, but bringing it to your table. And then lastly is check, right? We want to make sure that the quality of our bowel movements is appropriate, right? We want to make sure that we have formed stools, the color is right, there's no undigested food particles or food floating, not food, stool floating on top of the toilet, right? So you want to also check what comes out on the other end the next day.
I'm going to have my kids and my husband listen to this because they think I am entirely way too interested
Yep.
in what happens in the
Yeah.
bathroom. And when they were younger, I'm like, no, I want to come see. I want to come see. And it's so important. Some people are, maybe feel mortified talking about this, but we're all human and it's something that's so important. And it does say a lot about our health, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. I think being in this field, it's like normal for us to have these poop conversations, but it is super important, right? It tells a lot about your health. Like there's two main hormones that regulate your appetite and hunger. One is called leptin. So when you get less than 7 hours of sleep, leptin is going to decrease, which is going to decrease satiety. So no matter how much you eat, you're not going to feel satiated. Ghrelin is going to increase, which is your hunger hormone. So no matter how much you eat, you're still going to feel hungry. And if you get less than 7 hours of sleep, you're going to tend to eat approximately 300 more calories the next day.
Goodness.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Just think about the magnitude of that over time.
exactly. And that's just with one night of sleep deprivation, which is defined as less than 7 hours.
If I get less than 7 hours, and I don't remember the last time that happened because I really like to sleep and
Yep.
I'm a 9-hour person. So,
Yep.
but I just remember feeling so sick to my stomach, like even 7 hours of sleep, and I don't feel well.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. And then, okay. And so then there's the whole hormonal
Yep.
impact that you just mentioned too. Wow.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. And then regularity is, I like to also call it consistency. So really trying to get to bed at a consistent time and waking up at a consistent time. So if your bedtime is usually around 10, you want to try to get to bed as close to 10 plus or minus maybe 30 minutes as often as possible. Same thing with the wake time. If you usually wake up around 6, then you want to make sure you're consistently waking up around 6 a.m. And then the last one is timing. That's basically making sure that you're getting to bed at an appropriate time. So if you go to bed, past midnight, you're missing out on a lot of the healing and recovery time because from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is when our body does the most healing. So you really want to try to get to bed as close to 10, if not a little bit earlier as possible. So timing is just as important.
You just said that the body does the most healing in that time frame. What do you mean by that, the most healing?
So that's when your body is really going to shift more into that parasympathetic state. That's when your body is going to repair and regenerate and really go into that deep healing state. If you have an aura ring, you'll probably notice that most of your deep sleep is earlier on in the night. And deep sleep is when our body does a lot of that recovery. That's when our brain really recover. Memory consolidation occurs during that time. So it is really important to get the timing right to maximize the amount of deep sleep you're getting to get that full recovery.
Right. And if we don't get that sleep, if we don't get that deep sleep, what happens?
If you don't get that deep sleep, then you're going to feel more tired the next day. No matter if you got your 8 hours of sleep or not, you're going to feel more tired. Your memory is going to suffer. Your overall, like, even once again, your hormones are going to be imbalanced. So, deep sleep is really important, is a really important part of our sleep that we need to prioritize. And the best way to do that is to get to bed around that 10 p.m. mark.
Yeah, and it's just what a gift to give yourself. There are people in my community that really struggle with going to bed earlier or giving themselves permission to go to bed
Mhm.
at a decent time. And sometimes it can be, as simple as, I'm taking care of a loved one. Maybe the loved one has health issues or dementia or something like that, and they feel, well, if I stay up late, that's me time. That's the
Mhm.
only time I have for myself. And really, though, really, it's not serving you. You're sabotaging your own health and wellness.
Mhm.
And what if can't we just take the me time early in the morning instead?
Well, that's exactly what I was gonna say is, like, just get to bed and wake up earlier, and then that's a better time to have that me time when it's, those quiet mornings where a lot of people aren't awake, in your family perhaps. So I rather you have an earlier morning than a later night.
What is your favorite way to regulate your nervous system? There are so many different ways we can do it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So one of the things that, my husband always says is breath is the steering wheel of the nervous system. Right? So we can really consciously shift the way we breathe to shift our nervous system. So when we breathe in a rapid state, when we're breathing shallow, when we're breathing from our mouth, that's going to shift us into a fight or flight sympathetic dominant state. Versus when we slow our breathing down, when we breathe from our nose, when we breathe more intentionally, ideal cadence is about 5 to 6 seconds on the inhale, 5 to 6 seconds on the exhale. We can really shift our physiology more into what we call a parasympathetic state. And the reason why that's important is because any health goal that you're trying to achieve, whether it's better digestion, better sleep, bringing down weight, reducing inflammation, whatever it is, it's going to predominantly occur in the parasympathetic state, not in fight or flight.
Can we do that breathing exercise that you just referenced? Anytime somebody mentions the word breath work or breathing, I immediately take a breath or I slow my breath
Mm.
down. And so you just mentioned that. You just mentioned it. So could we do that together right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the best thing to do to really get into your breath, to get into your body is to just, first of all, try to ground your feet.
I'm going to uncross my legs.
Yep, I had my legs crossed too. So uncross your legs. Try to get your feet on the ground, and then you can close your eyes if that helps you get more into your body and your breath. And you really just want to relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, relax your eyebrows. These are places where we hold a lot of tension in our body. For women, sometimes they hold a lot of tension in their abdominal muscles. So relax your abdominal muscles and then just focus on your breath. Just focus on your natural breath before you try to change it or shift it in any way. Just notice your inhale, notice your exhale, notice if you're breathing from your mouth or are you breathing from your nose. Notice the quality of your breath. Are you breathing shallow? Are you breathing slowly? Are you breathing quickly? And now that you're kind of paying attention to your breath, try to slow it down. So you're going to inhale through your nose, and then you're going to exhale through your nose and inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. And for the duration of this podcast, as you're listening, try to just slow your breath down and focus on that 5 to 6 second inhale and 5 to 6 second exhale.
That felt delicious.
Yeah, you can really notice how your body shifts into that more relaxed state.